Yo, 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 baby pop. Yeah, you. Come here and give me a little kiss.
Gotta make it fast, or else I'm gonna get pissed.
Can't you feel the music pumping hard? Like I wish you would. Now push it. Push it real good. I didn't come here to tell you that song, sing you that song. I'm gonna read a little more of this here book. This here motherfucking book. Selections from the book that set world's records. And it says the Memoirs of Billy Shears. Billy's back. It says Thomas E. U. Harriet, but it's not. He's the encoder. And it was the oral transmitted teachings of Sir Paul McCartney, otherwise known as William Wallace Campbell. Not any relationship to the first Paul McCartney. Okay, anyway, we'll go on where I left off. I left off on the chapter Playing with the Bonzos. They are both good for the wordplay. Okay, Stan, Shal, and Vivian were names I had heard before, but never together. They are both good for the word plays I was looking for. The persona would do the most outrageous performances. Anyone may ask, who shall do such a thing? They answer it, Stan shall. Stan shall do the nasty or humiliating things that Bill or Paul would never do, like perform with a striptease. Not I, but Stan is the man for such things. The Beatles did that far more regularly in Hamburg. Having fun with dice as a child, there was a game I played in which the higher rolls had the advantage. Rolling sixes was as good as it gets. In Roman numerals, 2 sixes are V1 and V1. Putting it in language, it's Viv, the root of Vivian. Well, I like Vivian on the young ones. Ew, I'm Vivian. I'll smash your head open. Okay, anyway, Vivian was a guy. Okay, that game of sixes actually used 3 dice, but in the English language, what name begins with V? I use Vivi as a nickname, and it's shortened to Viv. Okay, so that's all about the next chapter is the last song of Phase 2. This is about the revolver where he goes into Phase 2 when Paul McCartney dies on September 11th, 1966. Okay, Chapter 10. Peter Fonda inspired the last Beatles song that Paul took part in recording. The Beatles wanted entertainment while on the touring break in Los Angeles back in August of 1965. Ended up partying together with Peter Fonda, among several others. Peter freaked out John. They were both high enough to be impressionable. John's acid added to the freaky impact, also setting the stage for really making an impact. All of the Beatles were nervous about the distinct possibility. Sorry, there's people talking right behind you. I can't read and have people talking right behind you. Now, can you? What the hell, my car won't start. Or maybe we'll just roll up the back windows. No. Whoa, I see. Oh shit, no. God damn it, don't take this spot. I'm taking this spot. Thank you very much. Okay. Where was I at? Okay, so freaked out John. They were both high enough to be impressionable. John's acid added to the freaky impact. Also setting the stage for really making an impact. All of the Beatles were nervous about the distinct possibility of them being killed while touring, because there was just such a major upplay of their popularity by the mainstream media and the MI6 and all the other people that hired people to come to their shows and do freak out shit. Anyway, and then it started becoming real, where people would actually do the freak out shit. But it was like first inspired by the Tavistock institutions, programmers, and the mainstream media. Okay, anyway. So they were afraid of getting killed while touring. Security was a concern. There were perils and attempts on their lives. No one talked much about it publicly because they did not want to encourage it. Even so, it spooked everyone. After landing, they would see bullet holes in their planes. In some of their concerts, Ringo would turn his cymbal to shield him from possible bullets flying at the band. On top of all that stress, what made them all the more nervous about dying was Paul's horrific dreams. Paul had begun all his horrible death dreams early that year. Dying was never far from their thoughts. As they partied with Peter Fonda, the drug brought out his own death issues. From what I am told, when he was just a young lad, his depressed mother committed suicide. When he found out it destroyed him spiritually, he could not deal with that pain and shot himself in the stomach. He tried to end his own life that way. It was too much grief for that 10-year-old. God, I can imagine how much I loved my mom at 10 years old, that I would kill myself to save her life if she was dying at that time. Now she's just choosing to wither away. So that's her choice. You gotta let her do what she wants. Okay, but I tried since 17 years old. Now I'm 52. How many years is that? 35 years. I tried to get her to go to the gym. I worked at gyms. I sold memberships. Like, yeah, free membership, Mom. Let's go to the gym. I'll go with you. Nope. Not gonna happen. Okay. Anyway, that's a whole different issue. But anyway, I can imagine at that age, 10 years old, your mom's killed herself. How insanely hard that would be. Okay, with that issue unresolved, it needed to pop out again later in his adult years. Sure enough, when on a bad LSD trip, he experienced his own idea of death. Recalling it, he was going up to John and saying, quote, "I know what it's like to be dead." That's why it was one of their songs. I know what it's like to be dead. What song is that? I forget. John, already taken by acid, could not deal with that lingering, I know what it's like to be dead. John could not purge it from his head until he wrote it out in his song, She Said, She Said. Yeah, that's right. As always, he changed Peter Fonda, to she, in order to keep fans believing our songs were all about romantic encounters. We often made that change. As another example, Maharishi became Sexy Sadie. It was originally, Maharishi, what have you done? You made a fool out of everyone. Because he started sleeping with their touring people and sexually seducing them with mystical things that they didn't really want to have sex with them, but they did because they thought they were going to become more enlightened. Likewise, songs about Paul or me were made to sound like love songs. The Stones did the same with Ruby Tuesday, changing he to she. Their other Paul songs are gender neutral, using you, as I will show in the chapter about them, which is chapter 37. That's in the other book. It's not in this book. Let me see if chapter 37 is in this book. I don't believe so, but I read it in the other book. I think it's because, yeah, 35, 36, 37 are not in this. They go from Do You Hear Voices to Hey Bulldog 39, because those chapters are all about deep state, things that you have to spend $66 to get the 666 page for, which I did, and I lost it, or someone stole it from me. I'll get it again if you guys like and share these videos enough, and I make some money off them, which I haven't made on any videos lately because they shadow ban everything I do lately. Okay. Okay, anyway, we're going to go on. Becoming the last Beatles song that Paul helped lay down tracks for, being at Studio 3 of the EMI studios, She Said was coincidentally or providentially about John's death anxiety. It was done in 4 takes from 7 p.m. the 21st of June, 1966 to 3:45 a.m. It became the last song recorded for the ending of that second Beatles phase, being the last song made for Revolver. The Beatles then revolved again with new personnel, a new sound along with it, and a new public image, a new message, a new soul. Death songs continued woven in throughout the last Beatles revolution. The Revolver album cover sketch showed Paul on his way out. His face is turned away on account of his belief that he would die soon. The album included Eleanor Rigby, Yellow Submarine, and other songs foretelling his death. Paul understood that his position would revolve so that society could revolve with the band. His view of the global revolution was not the same opinion as was held by John, who had joked about it. However, after I stepped in when Paul's position did revolve, I was able to give John much more information. It was to those pushing the New World Order that John sang, "You say you want a revolution." When at last John fully understood the intentions of the global social engineers who would help themselves by helping us, he had mixed feelings. That was a short chapter. Okay. The last song of the two, phase 2. So that's just all about She Says. It's all about death. Okay, the next chapter. I think these are little excerpts. There's not the full chapter. The full chapter is in another one, in the other book, because they don't want to tell you all the deep state stuff that they told you in the later book. Okay. Masonic Checkmate. This is chapter 11, or part of chapter 11. In Through the Looking Glass, Alice goes through the changes and becomes a queen. I told Mike, Paul's brother, that I am as Queen Alice in becoming Paul. Later, Mike gave me several small Alice in Wonderland figures for my backyard as a housewarming gift as I settled into Paul's house. That inspired me to redo Paul's garden, putting in a tarot zigzag path with the statues of the nodes. I forget what the nodes are. They're like the muses. Anyway, we pitched ideas from many sources and incorporated them into our lyrics and artwork, but we were especially enamored with Lewis Carroll. His Through the Looking Glass and Alice in Wonderland imagery was used extensively. If you are familiar with those works, you can see how they brought us to an awareness of tarot and chest. You may recall the talking cards and chess pieces. In turn, those images, each rich in their own symbolism, turned us on to other symbols found in literature from around the world. So they have a picture here. It's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that John drew, but they became Beatles characters and chess pieces. Okay, and it's called Checkmate. And they have LOVE above each one of the characters. The horse, I believe, is Ringo. The heart is obviously Paul McCartney. The spade, who's the warmonger, he was the warmonger at the beginning. Hitler was his, until he met Yoko and he started realizing that all of his heroes were all fake prophets like Hitler. He liked Hitler. He was one of. He's going to talk about that in here. Anyway, he's the V, and the E is the owl, the heart. Oh, the spade. Sorry, the spade is Paul. The diamond is John. Okay, he's going to tell us. I got this mixed up. And the rook with an owl face is a heart. That's weird. So we got the wizard who's got a diamond head is John. We got the spade is like a hat of the Ku Klux Klan, where John has one of the Knights of the Templars or something hat. Anyway, and they have a bass going backwards with 4 strings in the middle of the painting, which actually John's playing, but Paul's playing the hand part of it. Okay. Whenever possible, we combined the symbols looking for symbolism in this drawing that Paul drew in 1967. See how the images all work together. You can see the tarot heart. Yeah, the tarot heart. Okay. Spade, diamond, and club, each assigned to a different band member, as set into the biblical 4-headed beast, which each head saying something about the Beatles, and each having a chess piece representation, and also a letter. As 4 heads of one creature united in Paul, we are each distinct but together playing Paul's left hand bass guitar. In cards, we are 4 suits of one deck. Ace of Spades is a card that has for centuries symbolized secrets or secret societies. That's why he's the Ace of Spades, John Lennon. It also represents personal transformation and or death. It is the dead man's card or death card. As such, cards sold with the Yellow Submarine storybook in 2004 featured Paul as the Ace of Spades. That is why the cards were included. And with all of our products, it was to show the world our Beatles' secret, which is our hidden message to the world, namely that Paul is the dead man. Paul is the dead man, and that I was transformed to mend the broken band. He's the Sgt. Pepper Lonely's Heart Club Band. As in John's hat, in his drawing above, he is of diamonds. To connect him to that suit, think of him singing his Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. That's why. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. On the first sketch, clubs hung around George's neck on a long ribbon. The word love in that version was written in capital letters. John drew the original on one of the days we worked on A Day in the Life. I got him to make the more polished version later. I bought it from him for 20 quid, a slice of lemon meringue pie, which I would have given to him anyway, and a large plant grown illegally on my farm in Scotland. We were both happy with the transaction. The 4 heads in this sketch of the Beatles' beast show us as a horse, man, lion, and eagle, which were based on Revelation 4:7, except that John drew a horse for George instead of a calf to better tie it with other prophetic passages and also to fill the chess role in the band. George is the dark horse or the black knight of our game. That identification grew in meaning for him as he rose in prominence. He reinforced his Dark Horse image later by naming a song album and recording label after it. I never really got much into George Harrison's music, so I never bought any. I bought John Lennon's, all of his, and I bought some of Paul McCartney's. I like Paul McCartney. Or at least the second Paul McCartney. The first Paul McCartney was alright. I mean, he did one good song yesterday. After that, they were all done by the new Paul McCartney, so... I mean, he did other good songs, too. He was a good harmonist and everything. But anyway, that's a whole thing. Whole other story. I never just got... Other than While My Guitar Gently Weeps and the songs he did with the Beatles, after George Harrison went solo, I just really didn't really care for it. Holly Rumba, all those songs. Not that they were bad or anything. I mean, compared to music today, I would go back and I would rather have them on the radio than all the crap on the radio today, is what I'm saying. I lost my freaking place. Okay, here we go. On the first sketch, okay, here we are. Okay, he was the Dark Horse. He named the label after that. Okay. Uniting the symbols, George is the Dark Horse of clubs. Clubs are fitting for George, who was in the set of Beatles that began it all. He was the only one of us, last four, who was with John in the beginning, when the Beatles were only known for playing at clubs. If you cannot see the clubs in the picture that is reduced to size to fit this book, look George in the eye and think of the clubs where they had played. Look him in the eye and think of the... Oh, he has club eyes, I see. Okay. They went to peep shows, that's why the clubs are in their eyes. Okay, anyway, I kind of get it. Okay. The suit of hearts goes to Ringo. John never did see him as the brains of the outfit, but always loved his heart. Ringo has a good heart. The R and O in Ringo also ties to the rook in chess. Besides being a castle in chess, a rook is a bird, so he's both a bird with a castle head. I get it. That's cool. He's like an owl, and then he has a castle on his head, a crown. It's castle top. The beast bird is an eagle, but both agree in one for our foul symbolic needs. I don't get that. Okay, the beast bird is an eagle. It doesn't look like an eagle. It looks like an owl. But anyway, we'll say it's an eagle. The beast bird is an eagle, but both agree in one for our foul symbolic needs. Both agree in one. Ringo kept the heart in our castle. John is the magical wizard whose vision became your reality, creating the Beatles, just as he gave himself the most spiritual advanced role on the cover of Abbey Roads. He did the same here, making himself the bishop and most godly. Our ace of spades is Paul. I am the queen of lonely hearts. My queen role in chess makes me the most powerful piece on the chessboard. I, queen, rule the beetle beast through my power from the most valued piece, the king. As long as the king goes on, the queen has power. So John, the original Paul, was the king, and he, adopting the position after he died, became the queen. And to checkmate, if you kill me, the king will never be alive again, so they can't kill the queen. As long as the king goes on, the queen has power. It is still the same even now. As Paul continues, I have power in his name. Paul's discontinuance would bring an end to nearly all of my work as well. It would be my own retirement. The gender issue comes up now and then. I am straight. I do not mind having female roles in symbolism. I am secure enough in my sexual identity to not be threatened by them or by any of the humor that goes along with them. On the cover of Sgt. Pepper's, we have Tarzan, played by Johnny Weissmuller, looking at my butt. It is a joke. I gotta go back and look at that. I looked at it once before. It is a joke about my role as the Queen of Hearts, standing in for Paul in the heart of that album cover. Notice that the letters above the beast correspond to those made by our hands on Pepper's back cover. We discuss why you cannot see my letter O in another chapter. For now, just take my word for it. Envision my O filling in the gap of the word love. Correspondence of those letters with the pieces we represent on the chessboard are clearer on the album. John's final drawing concealed it with lowercase letters. However, if you look at his picture and imagine capital letters, you'll be made aware of simulated chess movements. The Dark Knight moves in an L pattern. The Queen, who is your darling of the band, moves all around the board, circumnavigating, representing as Paul's halo, or as an O. John, our bishop, makes a V with his hands. In his case, he is pointing into his pants for his own added venereal significance of or pertaining to sexual desire or intercourse. In chess terms, V represents the two diagonal paths that each bishop may travel. Ringo's E illustrates each way that a rook may go, vertically or horizontal. Looking now to the front cover, the hat that Ringo is wearing is flat to resemble the rook or castle. I should in the future I'll do a video while I'm reading this and kind of make it. I gotta hire someone to do all that shit. Gotta make some money first. Okay, looking now at the front cover, the hat that Ringo is wearing is flat to resemble the rook or castle, looking a bit like that of a cowboy. The hat worn by George suggests horse riding. Oh shit, I should do. And as a knight wearing a little box says to Alice, "You're admiring my little box." Now George wears one. You can see, that's now a sexual innuendo, my little box, but heart-shaped boxes. But I don't know if it was back in the 60s. You can see us as the Queen, Bishop, Knight, Rook, and at their right, disposable wax pawns. But why is no king among them? Alas, the king is dead. That is the commonly held meaning of checkmate, and is why John wrote it below his picture. It is not etymologically accurate, but works perfectly for the symbolism, and agrees with Paul as the ace of spades, the dead man. We learned how to play the game without him. Under the O in John's picture, You can see that my hat is pointing right to it, as if connecting to it, linking their meanings. My hat connecting to the O that allows me to circumnavigate the board is the hat of a wizard, being one of the 5 beetle wizards in the Magical Mystery Tour movie, and is significantly higher than the rest, demonstrating, as in the game of chess, higher authority. Only the king is taller and higher in authority. I outranked the bishop and all others, but not our dead king. He is over all. All that we did was to preserve his life. That is how we stayed in the game. Okay, I'm going to finish right there. Masonic Checkmate is this chapter. He goes into the whole protractor and the slide ruler and the G for governing principle of the Galactic Federation. Okay, my brother's calling me. Hold on. Yo, baby pop, what's up?